house on the hill had stood empty for decades, its windows shattered and its walls covered in ivy. Legend had it that the place was cursed, that anyone who spent a night there would never be seen again. The townspeople spoke of strange lights and eerie sounds emanating from the house, but no one dared to investigate. One crisp autumn evening, 3 friends, Emma, Jake, and Laura, decided to test their courage. They were young and fearless, dismissing the warnings as mere superstition. Armed with flashlights and sleeping bags, they made their way up the winding path to the house. The front door creaked open with a sinister groan. Inside, the air was thick with dust and the scent of decay. As they explored the dark, empty rooms, their footsteps echoed ominously. Emma found an old journal in the corner of what appeared to be a study. The pages were yellowed and brittle, but the handwriting was clear and neat. It belonged to a woman named Eliza, who had lived in the house over a century ago. Eliza's entries spoke of her loneliness and despair, of a husband who had gone mad and disappeared, leaving her trapped in the house with their young daughter. The final entry was particularly disturbing. "The shadows have come for me. They whisper terrible things. I fear I will not last the night." The friends shivered, but laughed it off as an overactive imagination. They set up their sleeping bags in the living room and settled in for the night. As darkness fell, the house seemed to come alive with strange noises. The creaking of floorboards, the rustling of unseen creatures, and faint whispers that seemed to come from the walls themselves. Jake was the first to notice the shadows. They moved in the corners of his vision, just beyond the reach of his flashlight. He tried to brush it off, but the unease grew. Laura, too, felt the creeping dread as the whispers grew louder, more insistent. Emma, however, seemed mesmerized by the journal. She read it obsessively, her eyes wide with fear and fascination. She claimed she could hear Eliza's voice begging for help, pleading to be set free. As midnight approached, the whispers became screams. The shadows took on horrifying shapes, twisted and malevolent. Jake and Laura tried to wake Emma from her trance, but it was too late. The shadows enveloped her, pulling her into the darkness. Her screams echoed through the house, mingling with those of Eliza and her daughter. Jake and Laura ran, but the house seemed to shift around them, the hallways stretching and warping. Doors slammed shut, trapping them. The shadows closed in their cold touch, sapping the warmth and hope from their bodies. In the morning, the house stood silent once more. The townspeople shook their heads at the new batch of missing persons and warned their children to stay away from the cursed place. But if you listen closely on quiet nights, when the wind is just right, you can still hear the whispers of the lost souls trapped within the house calling out for help that will never come.